Yes.
A couple of states have voted. I don't know if it turned into law or not,
Yes.
but they were pushing bills anyway that their electoral votes were going to be based on the popular vote of the country, which means that those states voted to invalidate their state's voters. We didn't bring that up, but
I can't even touch that.
welcome to Civil Disagreement. My name's Kevin Beers, and to my right here is my co-host Michael Green. Today, let's see, we're talking about what are we talking about, Mike? I just forgot.
Electoral College.
Electoral College. The Electoral College. We have an election coming up in just a couple of days. Actually, this should be on the air on Tuesday. And actually, Tuesday is election day, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about Electoral College. Okay, so I'm going to let you take it, Michael.
Oh,
What do you got on the Electoral College?
I don't like it. uh, Basically, you hear everybody talk about states' rights, and you know, the Electoral College is supposed to give equal representation in government. Without bringing race into it, I just don't like it.
Okay.
I think it's a bad setup, but it is what it is.
What's your preference? Instead of the Electoral College, what would you propose?
I just think, like all processes that we are trying to write amendments to, or that we are trying to figure out other ways to do things to honor the fact that we know something does not work or we made mistakes in certain areas. That's just one of the processes that we need to update and just rethink. Because as much as people like to say it's all about representation in government, black people didn't have equal representation in the Electoral College. We never have. So I just don't understand how people politically just want to keep talking about states' rights and equal representation when you know for a fact black people just have not had equal representation in Electoral College, like since its inception. Like, you just, like, that's fact. Like, you can't dispute that.
Okay, you're saying even today?
Pretty much. I mean, it is what it is. Like, Donald Trump lost the popular vote. That's fact. So you can call that however you want to call that. So you can't say equal representation.
Okay. I definitely want to talk about that one. But
Yeah.
before we go there,
Yeah.
see, I think the Electoral College is a good thing. Mainly because small states or states with a smaller population, the way we were set up originally
Yes.
is that now I know there's more history to it than what I'm just generally going to put out there, but every state got a chance to have a say in who became president.
Yes.
And the problem was, if you have a state with a large population, that other smaller state has absolutely no meaning when it comes to the election itself.
Okay.
So the state itself, because every state ran itself differently.
Yes.
So every state had to have, I'll say, equal representation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's set up much like our Congress is set up, where the Senate, there's 2 votes per state.
Yes.
It just strictly, that's all about states' rights.
Okay.
The states themselves have equal representation, no matter how big, no matter how small.
Yes.
The House of Representatives, however, the number of the number of representatives you get is based on your population.
Yes.
So, if the population is currently 330 million, divide all the states up, there's this many seats available, and you divide it proportionately based on your population. Electoral College follows the exact same thing. Two votes for every state, and then the number of representatives, again, split up by population.
Yes.
Now, one of the reasons the Electoral College got set up in the first place was that the founding fathers already knew that a lot of the voters don't have a clue of what's going on.
Okay.
So the Electoral College was a way to make sure that an uneducated vote
Yes.
didn't skew the election too far.
Okay.
So you're electing electors to actually vote for the president.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
Now there's a lot of things you can point out that might be wrong with that, but the representation. But now in today's society, I don't know the exact numbers, but it's like Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York City combined would have more power in electing the president than the rest of the country. I think it's just those three. It might be a couple more cities.
Okay.
But city dwellers in general all vote the same way.
Yes.
Country or anything outside the city, let's say, because now we have suburbs that didn't exist back in the day. But now anything outside the city, you get a totally different way of. Well, life is completely different.
Okay.
So therefore, their thinking is different. And if only the cities have control over who the president is, how do those outside the city get any representation at all?
Okay.
Okay, so that's
So
that's where we're starting from.
okay. I just want someone to explain to me how my electoral vote cannot be in favor of who my state voted for. Explain to me the fairness of that in our democracy.
Okay.
And I will love the Electoral College to the day I die.
Okay, so what do you mean by what you're saying?
How, if my state is a blue state and votes Democrat, how in Electoral College do you get the Republican vote for the president?
You don't.
Is that not what happened in how Trump got into office? Is that not what happened in how another president in our history got into office?
Okay.
Like there are actual factual
There
elections where
there are cases where the person that was there to represent their state voted the other way.
There we go.
There are cases where that has happened.
Okay, so if you can explain that to me and make that seem like a valid democratic process and it's fair, I will love the Electoral College to the day I die. I will support it.
I actually cannot explain that because I think it's totally wrong.
Then there we go.
If my state, well, my state always does vote blue, even though I don't. The problem, and I have a problem with that. You know, I live in a state that's always going to vote blue, and actually, in the state of Virginia, the entire state from starting at the Northern Virginia border, I'll call it that.
Yes.
But you get out of that very populated area, everything south and west votes red.
Okay.
There's a small area at the top of the state that votes blue.
Yes.
But they outnumber the
rest of the state. Yes.
So I don't live up in that area, nor will I ever vote that way.
Yes.
But I always feel like my vote doesn't really count for that exact reason.
Okay.
But I'm still in favor of the Electoral College because Virginia overall, I don't know how many electoral votes we get.
Yes.
But it's not a huge number. We don't get a lot of say in who's going to be president.
Mm-hmm.
But let's look at a state like Montana.
Yes.
Very small population. Their vote would not count basically at all in a presidential election.
I mean, it would count for something.
Well, very little though. I think they only get the minimum number of votes that they could possibly get.
I mean, we want to believe that everybody's vote counts, specifically in the popular vote. So if again, if you're saying the Electoral College is about states' rights, and a state votes a certain way, and in the Electoral College they vote differently, okay, than what the state has voted, I don't understand in saying that we're in a free democracy and your vote counts. How is that fair?
Okay, so the case you keep bringing up there is when the Electoral
College goes the other way.
Right.
When the electoral vote goes the other way.
Right.
Yes.
So if you have somebody in your state that votes against what the population of the state voted for, that's a really rare instance. It has happened, but
Yes.
it's rare.
And again, I'm not saying that happens all the time. I just want to know when that happens. Last election, Trump won.
But that's not how Trump won.
But,
What Trump won on was
Electoral College votes.
the Electoral College votes. But so for instance, California,
Yes.
Hillary won by like 4 million votes in California,
Yes.
and compared to Trump in the popular vote, she won by 4 million votes.
Yes.
So actually, the state of California kind of covered the whole thing.
Yes.
And I know it's not just the state of California. I know it's spread out, but essentially, when you just look at numbers,
Yes.
that's where that is. And the argument that Hillary won the popular vote, she's the rightful winner.
Yes.
Okay, I got an argument for that. First of all, Hillary spent a lot of time in California campaigning.
Yes.
Why? She already had the state wrapped up. She didn't even have to visit there once. She had the state wrapped up from the get-go.
Yes.
But she spent a lot of time there. So now that only makes sense if the popular vote actually elected the president.
Yes.
Trump, on the other hand, he went to Wisconsin, he went to Pennsylvania, and what was the third state? There were 5 states that he really focused on.
Yes.
Because they were the swing states, or what's called the swing states.
Yes.
And he ended up winning those because his campaign went after the electoral votes, which are the ones that actually count.
You know why they count?
Because
your vote doesn't. You just told me that the popular vote doesn't count in a free democracy because the electoral votes are the ones that count.
Okay, let me finish my thought.
Yes.
Okay, so what ends up happening? So he went after the electoral votes.
Yes.
Now, if this were truly a popular vote across the country, no
Yes.
state lines, nothing like that, it's just strictly popular vote.
Yes.
His campaign would have been a totally different thing. He would not have gone to those 5 states because he didn't need to get many votes to win those,
Yes.
but he was going to need like 4 million votes
Yes.
to get California.
Yes.
So basically he lost by 4 million on the popular side, but he didn't go after the popular vote.
He went for the Electoral College.
Right, because those are the ones that count. So what I'm saying is, like, he would have spent a heck of a lot of time in California just getting the Republicans out to vote because the studies, I saw a specific study on California. There are millions of Republicans who don't vote because they already know that they're outnumbered like 10-1 or something like that.
Yes.
So they already know their vote doesn't count in a presidential election. So
So why you live in California?
So they
because that's where
their jobs are.
No, don't care. Just like you tell all these people crying about jobs and there's no economic relief in our community. Oh, well, you live there. Why don't you get up and move?
Well,
hey, Republican,
okay.
why you live in a liberal state? Get up and move.
Actually, a lot of people are moving.
Okay,
right
there you go. Problem solved.
But they're not moving for that reason. They're moving because those states that tend to be Democrat have the highest taxes. Now, I know that's a whole nother show.
Yes.
Not a whole nother show. No, but what I'm saying is he would have campaigned differently. So winning the popular vote when the Electoral College is what counts means nothing. It really doesn't.
Okay.
Now, had he run his campaign differently, would he win? I don't know. But I do know that there's a couple of million people in California that may have come out to vote. That would have narrowed the margin quite a bit. There's other states. Now, there's red states where I'm sure there's Democrats who like, why am I voting? Because my vote doesn't count. I'm sure in those kinds of places that occurs too. I'm just saying that argument that he lost the popular vote is invalid only because the popular vote never counts.
That's
and I know that's where
which validates the other argument. You can't. What's the popular vote for anyway? Why even count the numbers if you're going to admit that the popular vote never counts? Okay, so what are we voting for then?
The popular vote counts within your state.
This is what I'm saying. If you know for a fact that the Electoral College can go against the popular vote, no matter which way your state votes, how are you telling me that our vote counted? You cannot tell a person, this is not even racial. Come on, this is just simple English. You cannot say, hey, American, you count, vote. Okay, I'm going to vote for the purple monster. And then in the Electoral College, they say, nope, we want the yellow zebra in office and vote for that. And that what goes into office. And then you say, well, no, everybody in my state voted for the purple monster. Well, the Electoral College knows better, and we think that the yellow zebra should be the president.
But see, what happens is, if okay, in Virginia,
yes,
okay, the Democrats are gonna win the popular vote for president.
yes,
So the Democrats select who they send to the Electoral College, so that they all vote Democrat. That they it's a way of assuring that that switch doesn't happen. And there are documented cases where it happens, but it is, again, it's very rare.
yes.
And it's like, I don't know how you let that guy slip through or whatever. It's
Do we already know the answer to that, but it's still. I understand what you're saying. Nobody is giving me a good answer to why do you keep telling Americans that their vote counts when the Electoral College can vote against your vote? You can,
no, and I understand what your point is.
yes.
But they put those other, like Democrats picking all the Democrats.
You're saying that the fear of ignorant voters and the fear of states not having fair rights for certain people is way more important than what?
Oh, okay. So the reason I say that. So if you come from a state that has a lot of cities in it, let's say.
Yes.
Okay.
Like Florida.
Nearly all of the farming states,
Yes.
where you in the blue states get your food from,
Yes.
they're all red. Okay, those states are all red.
Okay.
Okay. How will they get any representation?
I didn't say that.
Because if everybody, and I realize this is only for the president.
Okay.
So
no. This is for everything across the board. Period. Okay. So my question to you is, you want to keep an imperfect system for the fear of something else that hasn't happened not happening. You can already see injustice and imperfection in the system that's already in place, but because of your fear of anything else that hasn't happened, that's not on the books.
Okay, what
We want to keep the perfect and unjust system. That's almost like saying, it's like saying, hey, we have a system that we worked out, and we think this is a fair system. So now, years later, you look at the system and you understand, hey, this system is really not fair. Yeah, we know, but we want to keep it in place because the majority of people that it serve, it's good.
Okay.
We're not worried about the injustice or the unequal treatment of the people it does not serve.
Okay, what is the point of having state borders? Why have 50 states? Why not just one United States? Well, not even United States, just one united people of America.
Again, you are arguing a point with we're going to keep this flawed system because we're scared of something else might happen.
No. My question is serious. Why have state borders?
I understand all of that.
What's
but
the purpose?
In the
what is the purpose of state borders?
What? State, I mean, outside of states' right or the sovereignty of a state to govern itself and all the rest of that other stuff, what? I mean, for real.
Well, why? What's wrong with the state governing itself?
It's nothing wrong with that.
So every state should get a say in who the president is.
We're not saying that they should not get a say. The problem is that adjusting or trying to find a new way for our voting system to work does not eradicate states' rights. What we're trying to do is bring a discussion to the floor to say, you already know the system is imperfect and does not give equal representation of all voters in the United States of America. You know this, and it's already been proven. There's factual history behind it. You're trying to tell me you want to keep it because of what? Well, we just don't want to get rid of state rights. Nobody said get rid of state rights. We're saying you need to look at this system and find a way for this to be
Oh.
a equal system.
Okay.
We're not trying to make it perfect. We're trying to make it equal.
Okay. So here's my solution.
Yes.
Okay, I actually have a solution.
Yes.
Because I'm in favor of the popular vote under one real condition:
Yes.
ranked choicing, right? Ranked choice voting.
Okay, explain this.
Okay, so ranked choice, what that is well, currently we have a two-party system.
Yes.
Okay, the third party never gets a shot at becoming president ever.
Yep. Oh, I'm already there with you. I already know what you're about to say. Okay.
So basically, what ranked choice voting does, it allows you to pick who you want as your number one choice.
Mm-hmm.
So what they do is everybody votes their number one.
Yes.
They add them all up. If you don't meet a certain, so basically the one loser out of all the number one spots,
Mm-hmm.
that person lost.
Mm-hmm.
Kick them off. Everybody who voted for that person moved to their number two.
Got you.
Now, who loses now? Kick that one off. If some of the number twos, they move to number three.
Mm-hmm.
If some of them were number one, they move to number two. So basically, you choose by rank. When it all boils down to the bottom, who's left standing? That's your president. What that does is it allows, like for instance, there is no way in hell
Okay, I'm listening.
that I would ever vote for Biden.
Okay.
Okay. Now, now I'm also not voting for Trump.
Yes.
I already know that my candidate's not going to win because we got a two-party system, and the person I want to vote for is not going to win. So basically, people will tell me you're wasting your vote, and I agree. Now let me finish.
Okay.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I am wasting my vote. However, if enough people vote the same way I do,
Mm-hmm.
it will send some message.
Okay.
However, I don't believe the message is ever heard. But so in ranking, if I just rank, let's just go with the Libertarian Party because I will tell you I'm voting Libertarian.
Okay.
So I would pick Joe Jorgensen first.
Mm-hmm.
I would pick Trump second.
Mm-hmm.
I would pick Biden third.
Got you.
Okay. Now there may be others on the vote. They would all go ahead of Biden, but I'm just trying. I'm just trying to make a vote.
You really hate Democrats. I get it.
No, I don't hate Democrats. I don't like Biden. I also don't like Harris. See a previous episode about that one.
Okay.
But because I can vote for Joe Jorgensen, and if she loses in round one,
Mm-hmm.
okay, now Trump is my vote. So I didn't waste my vote. My vote was there because if other people, they can say, yeah, I want to vote for her, but I don't want to waste my vote. Well, your vote isn't wasted. If enough people pick her first, she could win. She has a real possibility of winning.
Got you.
But the thing is, a lot of people are going to vote one way or the other instead of for the third party because they know that's a wasted vote. And ranked choice voting allows you to not waste your vote.
Okay.
Your vote will always count.
Okay. So the problem is
problem.
how do we come up because in listening to you explain the whole voting process and electoral colleges, the Electoral College and how it's supposed to work and all the rest of that stuff, I'm sitting here thinking that all you would have to do is change the two-party system so that you can have people run for president under certain rules, okay? So you don't have literally 30 people up there trying to be president of the United States of America, okay? I totally get that, okay? So, but at the same exact time, if everybody had equal representation as far as running for the president or the United States, the president of the United States, if everybody had equal representation, no matter what party that we come up with, I don't care if you come up with a zebra-loving party, okay? It is what it is. If everybody had equal representation, an equal chance to run for the president of the United States of America, and the Electoral College, as it stands, cannot go against the popular vote of that state, you would not have a problem because now you have a libertarian state voting libertarian. So now you're going to have equal representation from your people in regions. Now the problem is the problem is if this is a free America, you need to live where your people are at. Again, culture is everything. If I understand, if my politics are so strong that I am a Republican, why are you living in a blue state? If you really feel that strongly about your politics and how you raise your children and what people believe and what kind of schools you want to go to, why are you living in a blue state? Just like you would tell somebody else that lives somewhere where the political and economic condition is not favorable to them and their people, oh, you shouldn't live there then, that's a choice because you're free. Okay, so if you're going to tell those people to move, why don't you move to a red state?
Well, I like my neighbors here.
It doesn't matter. We live in a free country. You see what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
Yes.
I get what you're saying.
Now, what's going to suck is, okay, let's say we in what I'm saying, now we have put we have reconstructed our voting system. So now we have 5 parties that run for office in this country, whether it be president, whether it be Senate, whether it be whatever. You got the liberals, you got Republicans, you got Democrats, and then you got, say, 2 other parties that come out of the mix. Okay? You got 2 other parties that come out of the mix. All those parties can run. Okay? But it's a fair thing that, guess what? You, as a party that only occupies, say, 1 state, you can still run for president of the United States and you can still be heard and you can still be on TV and you can still be on all the debates and everything. But it's not anybody's fault that you represent a party that is only in 1 state in the United States of America and probably has about, say, has 250,000 followers. That's nobody's fault. No. It is what it is. But you still have equal representation though, because the people that want to vote for you can. Right now, the people that want to vote libertarian, really, come on.
No, and that's what I'm saying. I'm in favor of popular vote if it's done with ranked choice. And the reason for that is just getting rid of the Electoral College and making it a popular vote. It's still a 2-party system.
I don't want to do that. I want to make it so that the Electoral College cannot vote against its constituents. You cannot tell somebody their vote counts and then overturn it in the Electoral College.
But again, that promotes the 2-party system.
No, not if you already have more than 1 party freely being having access to the ability to run for office. Right now, you're watching liberals not having free access to run for office because they're being restricted. I haven't seen Joe Jorgensen in a debate anywhere.
No, because the people that you know who puts together presidential debates?
Who's that?
It's a committee.
There we go. There's one of the problems.
And you know who picks the committee?
Who picks the committee?
It's about half Republican and half Democrat.
There's the problem right there. See what I'm talking about? So now we got to get rid of that problem.
And the thing was, who was the guy with the ears that ran way back? He was a tech giant in Texas.
Ross Perot.
Ross Perot. Okay. Ross Perot made it into the presidential debate.
Yes, he did.
And because he made it in, and actually Joe, I don't know about Joe Jorgensen, but the last guy that ran Libertarian for president, he actually had better numbers.
Well, Ross Perot made it because he had the money to get himself there.
But the thing is, the Libertarian had better numbers than Ross Perot, but because he was able to get into the presidential debates, they changed the rules so that the next Libertarian couldn't get in. All because there's a committee made up of Democrats and Republicans who are just nudging everybody else out. Then you look at the debates, like the debates back in the primaries.
Yes.
The primary debates, those are usually set up by the news media.
Yes.
Yeah, the news media, they determine who gets in, who doesn't get in. You know, that sort of thing. My favorite, and actually, you said because I hate Democrats so much. If Tulsi Gabbard were running, yeah, she would be above Trump for me. and I disagree with almost everything about her. However, I know where she's coming from, and I honestly believe she would be a good president, even though I don't like her policy stance.
Okay.
But anyway, so because it's not Democrats, it's the current Democrats that are there.
There. Okay. I got you.
Tulsi Gabbard, that woman, I would have voted for her in a heartbeat.
So
but yeah, so the system as it's set up, other than ranked choice, I haven't seen anything better come along.
because people refuse to change this current system that's in place. Okay, and that's the problem.
See, now one of the things that gets complained about all the time is gerrymandering.
Which is another problem.
Now, gerrymandering doesn't affect the presidential election. It affects the Senate and the House races.
Yes,
okay,
it does.
But actually, we're talking about Electoral College. We really shouldn't go there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I brought it up. It was.
Yeah.
But that's definitely an issue to be talked about at some point.
I mean, it is what it is, man. I mean, that.
But see, we see these systems that are in place, and we know they're problematic, and yet nothing ever gets done about it. Now, the Electoral College requires 3/4 of the states to vote to change that, because it would be a constitutional change. That's never going to happen.
But they're not going to put that on the books, because how do you put that on the books? It's just like it's it's just like when you say gun control, and I'm just using this as an example. As soon as you say gun control, they say, "Oh, they want to take away my Second Amendment rights." No, nobody wants to do that. And I'm not. I'm excuse. Let me rephrase that. I'm not going to say no one wants to do that. There are some people out there that think we should just make all guns illegal. Yes, that does exist.
They just want to get semi-automatics out of there, which accounts for like all of them.
No, there are some people that just want to make literally guns illegal in the United States of America.
Right. I get that, but then the many of the others want to make semi-automatics
illegal,
which is basically all the guns in the country.
Yeah, pretty much. So all I'm saying is that having the discussion of gun control does not mean I want to take away Second Amendment rights.
Okay.
When the common sense gun control discussion is, how can we look at our current gun laws or whatever and try to put some kind of system in play to stop certain things from happening without affecting the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness of gun owners everywhere in America.
Okay, so we're talking about Electoral College.
Yes.
So let's relate it to that.
Yes.
So Electoral College, the original reason for putting it in place was they did not trust the voters to be educated enough to make a good choice. And I look at today's voters and
that sounds like a form of systematic oppression.
Well,
to keep control in a certain class of America.
Have you looked at some of the voters today?
It does not matter. I do not care. You told those people that their vote counts.
I agree. I agree with that. But I look at some of the voters like, I don't want you voting. Because you have no clue. You saw somebody's commercial on the way over here, and that's who you're going to select.
Listen to me.
Okay.
I don't care if you're the voter that literally gets your ballot and go, okay,
let's make a
Democrat. Let me see this Amendment 1 question. Throw up a coin. Okay, yes. Okay, Amendment 2 question. Throw up a coin. No. Okay, I'm finished voting. Okay, so even if that is the way you vote, your vote counts. Period. End of story. Call it what you want to. You can call them ignorant. You can call them stupid. You can call them ill-informed. Whatever you want to call that person.
And I will.
And that's fine. But his vote counts.
Yes.
Period. Okay? A lot of people got mad because black people were very vocal about when Obama got in office, and they were like, "That's right, first black man." People got on. You're trying to tell me the only reason you voted for this man was because he was black? Wow, that's real. Like, come on, man.
And I know some people who did exactly that.
You see what I'm saying? So you're not going to vote for him because he is black? If one exists, the other one has to exist.
I didn't vote for him. Actually, I went libertarian then too.
But back to my point.
Yeah.
You cannot make that a valid point, Kevin, and say, "Oh, our forefathers in their great wisdom put this in play because of that." Like, no, you're still trying to put a systematic control over something that's supposed to be free for everybody to participate in and keep it, and you're trying to control it so it can be controlled by a certain class or a certain particular group of people. So when you do that, when you put a control on something in society like that, it is no longer a democracy. It is no longer it is no longer a free, inclusive, democratic process. It's not.
Okay. So now you mentioned democratic process.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know why we have a Senate and a House, and one runs on population, the other one runs on individual states?
So according to the good idea fairy of why this stuff exists, is because you people are supposed to be a part of the government, okay, that is supposed to be a representation of the current population of America.
That's the House.
No, because the Senate is a representation of what?
The states.
That's right, which is the population of America. Because the population of America is in those states, and the United States of America is made up of those states.
Every state gets 2 senators.
But I understand. But how can you be a state with no population?
No. I mean, I get that. But what I'm saying is, the smallest state gets 2 representatives in the Senate.
But what I'm saying is, those functions of our government are still representations of our population.
Okay, I get you.
No matter if we had 2 states or 50 states, the Senate is still a representation of the population of America.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. The House is a representation of the population of America. It's just derived differently based on population.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Okay, so that's what that's what the good idea fairy is supposed to be teaching us in social studies, that the forefathers wanted to make our government a representation of the population of America.
Okay.
We are supposed to have...
Now, okay, the point I was actually trying to get to.
Yes.
Because you mentioned the
democratic process. Yes.
But we are a republic, which means...
we're supposed to be a democratic republic, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. So yes, there are points where the Electoral College is one of those, where the population of the state makes a decision.
Yes.
And then that's how those votes are supposed to be counted.
Yes.
But in a republic, and I know where you're gonna go on this one, so please don't go there. But it's to represent those who don't normally get representation. And I know where you're gonna go. Don't go there. No,
man, you're making this too easy.
But no. But that's the point of a republic, is that you don't have to be a majority in order to get your voice heard.
You are correct. So why do you get to go against my minority vote then? I'm just, and again, I'm going to keep bringing it back to that very first question at the beginning of this episode when I asked for someone to explain to me, how do you tell me my vote counts and then you get to overturn my vote?
And like I said, that's a rare occurrence, but it can happen.
Yes. We need to look at that part of the Electoral College. If that cannot happen, if that cannot happen at all, it is illegal, it is wrong, it cannot happen. The Electoral College does not have the power to just decide, you know what, we think it's better for America, for Americans for their vote not to count because we think it'll be dangerous for America for that to happen. So we're going to overturn all these popular votes, all these states' votes for this candidate, and we're gonna vote in favor of the other person that millions of people have voted against. So if you can make that not a function of the Electoral College, then the Electoral College will be true representation of the states.
Okay. Now a very interesting point here.
Yes.
Or at least I find it interesting. After the loser of the election, so on election night, now this year it's going to be different because we got this mail-in vote thing going on.
We're literally going to find out in 2021 who's the president, but it's all good.
Yeah, basically. But what happens is, so typically, prior to 2020, on election night, someone gets up in front of a microphone and says, I concede this election and pass it on to the other person.
Yes.
But there's still processes that have to happen afterward,
Yes, it is.
which is the Electoral College,
Yes.
which could, in theory, swing it back to the one that conceded.
And guess what?
And they become
That
president.
can't happen.
No, it can happen.
No, that cannot be a function of the Electoral College.
No,
You
no,
may,
but
you
no,
may
no.
not take somebody that concedes and gives up their running for the president of the United States and go, oh, well,
No, okay.
technically
Okay.
the deadline hasn't passed yet. We're going to vote for that guy.
Well, see, that's just it. The concession speech is not a requirement. It's a nicety. Basically, the reason the concession speech happens is so that the country can move on to the next president peacefully. I mean, you've never seen the switch in presidencies
What I'm saying is
with riots and whatnot, because that concession speech is so important on moving the country to the next stage.
but
The
hold
process.
on, are you talking about concede or dropping out?
No, concede.
Okay.
You know, when the president gets up and says, you know, it looks like I don't have enough votes to win.
So he's dropping out.
No, it's because there's nothing official that happened other than him just saying that.
So, and I understand that, but if he's ringing the bell can't be unrung.
Well, let me ask this then. In 2016, did Hillary actually concede?
I have no idea.
I
doubt it very
I
seriously.
honestly don't know. I know she did not concede the night of the election,
No.
but I don't know that she did afterwards. I mean, she's still, even today, she's still saying she didn't lose.
Yes,
So-
I don't think she conceded.
And she's so irrelevant at this point in time. It's like, why is the news covering her? Get her off. Just get her off the TV.
Man.
But honestly, I mean that to me, because what happens? Actually, I say the concession speech usually happens that way. Al Gore and George Bush.
Yes.
There was no concession there because there were court cases that came up. But when it finally boiled down to Al Gore losing, then he got up in front of that microphone and said, "You know what? I didn't win." I mean, he finally did do that. Now, I don't blame him for not doing it because, yeah, there was some issues going on there.
So now you're talking about you're talking about formal procedure versus
The concession speech is not part of the procedure.
so what you're talking about just a tradition then?
No. The processes that have to follow include the voting of the Electoral College.
Yes.
That does have to happen.
So you're saying somebody that runs for president just can't drop out? What happened to Mr. Hart? Remember Mr. Hart when he dropped out when that scandal of him cheating on his wife was going to come out?
Was that after the vote or before?
No, that was during voting. He was running for No. That wasn't during voting. That was while he was running. When he was campaigning.
While he was running.
He was
Yes.
while he was campaigning.
Yeah, you can drop out of the race that way.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that
But he was
once
still,
voting
but
starts,
I believe he was still on the ballot because it was too late to take him off.
yes, once you're on the ballot, you're on the ballot.
Right.
But he dropped out anyway.
Yes,
so.
he did drop out. Now, yeah, honestly, I'm not sure what happens in that point.
So according to what you're talking about, the Electoral College still could have voted for Mr. Hart. He could have been the president.
Actually, that might be true. That might be true. I actually saw an interesting video yesterday explaining because I put a question on Facebook and I said, if the voting is not clear as to who the winner is, and it gets pushed beyond January 20th, because we already know it's going to take a while before we find out who actually wins.
I thought we were going to find out in 2021.
Unless the number is so big on election night that the mail-in ballots don't even count any. You know, there's no way you could tip the scales one way or the other.
Yes.
Unless that happens, it could push beyond January 20th. So my question was, who's president at that point in time? Because that's when Trump's term ends.
Yes, officially ends.
But if there is no clear winner to who the president is, who becomes president? So someone mentioned, well, Nancy Pelosi would take the spot, the Speaker of the House.
Mm-hmm.
Now I said, well, Nancy Pelosi's up for election too, so maybe not her, but it would be the Speaker of the House is next up. However, the rule says if the president is incapacitated or unable to fulfill their duties, the Speaker of the House takes over. Trump will not be incapacitated or unable to fulfill his duties. So does it really count at that point? Because his term is up, but the election wasn't necessarily decided. So that was my question.
I can't remember the specific instance. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Well, right now,
I think that things are being set up that if he loses, he is going to try to put it before the Supreme Court to invalidate the election.
It's a possibility.
Yes, and packing the court, so to speak, what they're trying to accuse the Democrats of, which pretty much Trump's administration has already done with two justices. I'm sorry, three justices. Thank you very much. With three justices, is it three?
Yep.
Yeah, it is three. It's three justices. Okay, we have done it already with three justices. It's in his favor if something like that happens.
But the first justice has already proven that he's not loyal to Republicans in the way he.
It doesn't matter if he's loyal to Republicans.
No. What I'm saying is
being loyal to a person doesn't mean you're loyal to the party.
No, some cases have come up. Okay. I don't know if Trump was involved in the cases or not.
Yes.
But he sided the way he saw the case. He sided with what most people would call the activist judges, which are the left, the ones that were appointed by the Democrats.
Yes.
So he sided on that side. So justices are supposed to be removed from the politics. Whether or not they are, that's a whole nother question. But that is the way it's supposed to be. Actually, that was part of the speech with the newest one, Amy.
Yes.
For some reason, I don't have names today. But Amy Coney Barrett.
Yes.
Okay. So she, in her speech of accepting that position, she said the justices cannot be loyal to who put them there. That is not the way to be an actual judge. A judge has to rule based on the law, and not and based up against the Constitution. Never loyal to who put them there. Never loyal to a party or a person, whatever. However, now whether or not she rules that way, we'll see. I wish Trump would stop talking because he basically did say,
there you go. It is what it is.
I'm going to pick somebody who's going to side with me on this stuff.
But you want to know what's funny? We kept saying this stuff like people I like to say my side of the fence, and I'm not going to just say liberals or Democrats. I'm just saying people who have a certain understanding of the history of America and do not want certain things to repeat themselves.
Yeah, and I totally get that. And but it's not. There's been democratically appointed judges who went against whatever they might have been fighting for too.
Of course. It's just like that argument when
a proper judge is going to do exactly what they were put there to do, and that's to judge whether or not something is constitutional. That's all. That's their whole job.
Yes.
Right there. And honestly, my evaluation of Amy Coney Barrett was that she's one of those people that would do that. I sometimes I question Kavanaugh only because of what Democrats put him through, trying to destroy his entire life and family and the whole bit. If I were him,
I would hate Democrats.
Yeah, kind of. That I have a real. I would hope he would not do that, and I think, in all honesty, the fact that he got there, I can't say I don't know him personally, and I don't know much about him other than what I got to learn through that whole process. But yeah, I would hope that he's well above that kind of pettiness. I would hope. But
we all can hope.
I honestly don't know. My estimation of Amy Coney Barrett is, she's above that. I don't. But the thing is, the Democrats were actually very good about this. As far as the questioning went, there were some really questionable things that came up through that process, but it wasn't anything like Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Nothing like Kavanaugh. However, Trump had appointed her to the appellate court. What second highest court in the land is appellate. Anyway, she got nominated to that court, and the Democrats were, Dianne Feinstein in particular,
Yes.
and went after her religion,
Mm-hmm.
in which the Constitution says, "Oh, you can't do
Do
that."
that, yes.
But she did it anyway. I mean, she did. Okay, so she did that, but the Democrats had already gone through that process with her for the first appointment she had. So now the second appointment, there wasn't much to go through.
No.
I mean, they already knew she was flying through. So they kept it civil, which I'm really glad they did. For the most part, it was civil. Because actually, honestly, if they were not civil, I think that would have hurt the presidential debate for them.
So back to the Electoral College.
Oh, sorry. I went
yes,
off, didn't I?
yes. So in summary, you're saying you not physically, you don't think there's anything wrong with the functioning Electoral College that we currently have functioning today. You don't have a problem with it.
I have a problem with the fact that it keeps two parties in control. But other than that, no.
So if we changed it from a two-party system, that's it. That's the only thing you want to change. Not necessarily because the Electoral College doesn't really control it. It's
yeah, but
if we instituted more than a two-party system, then obviously the Electoral College would reflect that anyway. So
yeah, I could see getting rid of the Electoral College, but again, if we go to a popular vote,
mm-hmm.
it's going to have to include ranked choice, because without that, a third party never stands a chance.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
The Electoral College, see, I come from that, I think on the previous episode you called it a podunk town. That's where I come from.
So
and for me, living in an area like that,
mm-hmm.
yeah, you want some kind of representation, and if only city dwellers really get to vote for president,
yes,
and they always vote one way,
yes,
there will never be a president in my lifetime unless I move to a city. Well, even then it doesn't matter because my vote's still not gonna go anywhere.
Okay.
See, and that's
so if we went to say a 3, 4, even a 5-party system, you don't think you would have equal representation?
I don't see how you can get to a system like that. I mean, how do you get to a system like that?
We just do it.
I don't.
We just do it.
I think the only way to get there.
How did we free slaves? How did black people start voting? How did women get the right to vote? How did schools get integrated?
Well, that's because we're a republic. No, anyway, no, the states had to vote for those things.
Well, in some cases they did not. But go ahead.
Well, I see where you're going. I see where you're going. But see, I have no problem with parties. The problem I have is that the parties currently, the Democrats and the Republicans together, they have a lock on everything, so that they can never lose control.
So what does that tell you?
It's that a third party will never occur. An actual.
So what's the problem then? Is really the problem the Electoral College, or is really the problem the people that are currently in control with the two-party system? That they can't entertain anything outside of that will allow other people to come in and have influence
and this is
equal representation.
This is where the problem comes in on how would you change it because every state is currently, well, and actually there might be a state that has an independent that might be as a governor, but I think the Senate and the House in those states are clearly one way or the other.
If a whole bunch of people in this country put their, well, I hate to say this because there's not supposed to be any money in the politics, but that's what it would have to be. It would have to be money. Put all their money together to back somebody that wasn't Republican and wasn't Democrat. Somebody that was not even libertarian. Somebody that was an independent.
Okay.
Because you can run as an independent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if all the money in the United States of America, like more than half of it, white, black, Puerto Rican, doesn't matter. If all these American citizens got behind this independent and funded his campaign to the point where
or her,
yeah. What did I say? Him or
yeah,
yeah? Okay, this person, okay, this American citizen and funded this person, okay. What would stop that independent running for president of the United States of America from actually getting into office, according to how we have everything set up outside? Now, we already know that the Electoral College can vote against him.
Mm-hmm.
Just remove that and say we fixed that. What can actually stop him from getting in, even though there's a two-party system in place? Because now you have to understand, half of all the money in the United States of America, because the American citizens then put their money into him. There is no, you need a PAC fund, or you need this fund, or you need this. They have literally donated to his campaign to where he has all the money he needs to, from over half of America to pretty much, if he wants to go on television, he can go on he's going on television. You can't stop that.
Okay.
If I pay CNN to put me on television, they're going to take the money.
Okay. If we lived in Dream World and that happened, I would be okay with that. I would be okay with that.
You would be okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. But what stops him, even though it's a two-party controlled system? What stops him?
A two-party controlled system.
But I'm saying, but what stops him right now, outside of the Electoral College, voting against the states that vote for him and half of America, even in the heavy Wisconsin, Florida.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
The only other candidate that is actually on the ballot in all 50 states is the Libertarian Party, Joe Jordan.
Okay, but an independent can get up there, right?
They can.
Yes.
The problem is, for most, is that you can't get in all 50 states. Well, you can, but there's requirements to get on the ballot.
And he does it.
Okay.
Let's say he does it. Let's say he does what Kanye didn't do. Okay? He does what Kanye didn't do.
Okay.
Okay? And now he is on the ballot in all 50 states. He did his due diligence. The paperwork has been filed.
Okay. So,
okay?
Okay. So I would have not. I don't have a problem with that. And he can win electoral votes. And the
But my question is, outside of the Electoral College having the power to vote to go against him, even though a state votes for him.
Right. Well, my question is, if an independent wins electoral votes, who picks who those voters are? I don't know the answer to that. But you said we fixed the Electoral College so that can't happen.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Outside of that.
So if the Electoral College was fixed, as far as they could
the
never...
state is concerned. Right. You're fixed according to your state.
Okay. One thing we did not bring up.
Yes.
A couple of states have voted. I don't know if it turned into law or not.
Yes.
But they were pushing bills anyway that their electoral votes were going to be based on the popular vote of the country, which means that those states voted to invalidate their state's voters. We didn't bring that up, but
I can't even touch that.
I know.
I can't touch that.
Because if I lived in that state,
now I'm going to really tell you to move, Kevin. You need to move.
Yeah.
Like if that's the state you live in, you just need to move, man. That's not even up for discussion.
See, now Electoral College. I mean, the topic comes up a lot.
Yes.
I mean, throughout time, it's come up a lot, but it typically came up this time around, mainly because there's this whole, you either hate Trump or you love Trump. There is no in between, apparently. I mean, I'm on an in between.
Well, 2020 politics, that's the same for everybody.
Well, okay.
You want to know who's not hated? This is fact. You want to know who has no hate in the political scheme of the United States of America?
Who's that?
Joe Jurgensen. I haven't seen one hateful ad on her.
That's because the media won't even put her face on the screen. That could just bring up another issue right there. Yeah, you can get all these things on the Electoral College, and
Yes.
let's say we fixed the Electoral College.
Yes.
And we got independents running in different states or whatever.
Yes.
They go in all 50 states. Now we got the news media in the way because they pick who they want, and that's all they're going to ever show.
But the sad thing is that and again, everybody wants less government, but that is the only way to have a fair process is to have equal control in the government. So if the
No,
government
I agree.
made a platform for the debates,
That was fair.
that was fixed according to legalized paperwork. Hey, all these people filled out the proper paperwork and did what they need to do to run for the president of the United States. The government will sponsor one debate and have said all candidates on stage to discuss at a debate.
Okay.
And you see what I'm saying?
Now, I would even say, even if they made the ruling, you got to be on the ballot in all 50 states.
Yes.
If that's a ruling.
Yes.
She would still be on that. Honestly, if she were on that debate stage, she would run circles around those two guys.
But again, does that sound like a democratic process controlled by the government, or does that sound like too much government?
Well, everything sounds like too much government to me.
You see what I'm saying? Who controls that process?
Right. Yeah, it's that committee controlled by the two parties. Yeah. So, okay, so maybe the problem is not the Electoral College, but the problem is the people currently. This is where term limits come in. That's another show. We're not going to go there. We're actually going to wrap up.
Yeah.
Honestly.
All these kind of words we keep opening up trying to solve the Electoral College problem.
So we're airing on Tuesday, and Tuesday is election day, right?
Yes.
No, it's the 3rd.
No. It's Tuesday. Yeah, Super Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is actually airing on election day, and let us know your thoughts. It's too late to change it right now, but actually, I should say it's too late to change it for this election, but it's not too late.
You want to hear something scary? Which I know that's not even possible because people early voted.
Well,
but what if nobody in America one year just never voted, like 0 votes?
There's a process for that, because then it falls to the House, but it doesn't fall to the House to vote. Like each individual representative doesn't get the vote. Somehow it goes to the House, and it's based on the states.
Yes.
And there's more red states, and it's like 1 vote per state. And there's more red states
than blue
states. So because actually the video I was watching yesterday talked about the fact that if it were pushed to the House, the person that lost the popular vote, lost the Electoral College, could still win.
Wow.
If it went that route. And basically what he was saying, okay, I will tell you, it was Van Jones who put this video out. I won't get into it. There were parts of it I disagreed with, but his information was good.
Yes.
He built a scenario where if, for instance, Trump does not accept the voting,
yes,
and it was very close, and he refused to give up the presidency, it could get pushed to the House, but then it falls to the states, and therefore he wins. So
really,
however, I honestly, based on just numbers that I'm looking at, I think Trump's going to win by a large enough margin. It's not going to matter at this point. I mean, that's how I'm seeing it.
Well, nobody's counted the early vote, which is the black vote.
No,
the liberal vote.
The early vote is Democratic,
and liberal
by something like 3-1.
Yeah, and liberal vote.
However, Trump he said basically, if you're Republican, vote in person. Now, we do have an early vote going on.
Yes.
Republicans are going to be the ones who come out on election day.
Yes, but the assumption is that all the early voting is is leftist. It's all Democratic and leftist.
Mostly, yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's the consensus.
Like 3-1.
And which is everybody's trying to speculate, but they really don't know because that stuff can't be counted until November 3rd.
Right. And even if it could be counted, it still doesn't really matter because
under the assumption that blacks don't make up enough population, because that's what we're going by. Blacks don't make up enough registered Democrats do not make up enough of the population supposedly to sway this election in such a big number that the early vote counts. Now the problem is that, again, I don't think anybody is counting all these 18 to basically 24 to 26 year olds that could not vote in the last 2 presidential elections.
But what they are looking at is the fact that age group statistically never actually votes anyway.
That's what they think.
That historically it's true. However,
It wasn't true when Obama got elected.
it was actually it was. There was
No.
not as many as what you think.
It was as many as that could vote. You're
Okay,
talking about
okay,
what's
okay.
registered and what's.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
that's a stat we got to look up.
Yeah, we gotta look that up.
figure
Okay.
out. Okay, so anyway, let's wrap it up here. So you can find us on Facebook under Civil Disagreement TV. You can find us on YouTube, Civil Disagreement TV. And on our website is civildisagreement.net. So come find us. Leave your opinions. We honestly, we want to hear what you have to say about these things. Share this on your timeline on Facebook. Just pass it on to your friends and family that, hey, we're out here talking about these kinds of things. And it's not just that we're talking about it. We want you to talk about it too.
Yes.
We want to know what you think. We only get a few comments right now, and we answer every one of them. Some of them are pointed at Michael. Some are pointed at me. We typically both answer them either way.
Yes.
We don't care who you're asking.
Yes.
But we just want to be part. We want you to be part of that conversation with us. And if you're having a conversation with someone else, just tell us that. That hey, I'm having this conversation, and this is kind of what came out of that, and let us know. We're really looking for that kind of feedback.
Yes.
And again, like us on Facebook, like us on YouTube, subscribe to us on YouTube, I guess is the actual term. And our website is basically just a listing of all of our episodes. It's an easy place to go to catch them all. And other than that, I'm done. Other than to say I'm still not voting for Biden.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not voting for Trump either. Just in case anybody wants to jump on me about that one.
Does your vote count then?
It's not going to. No. No, I already know it's a wasted vote. But the thing is,
Why is it a wasted vote?
well, it's wasted in terms
Because they're going to count it. They're going to say this is how many people voted for Joe Jurgensen.
Well, no, I want to see that number actually. But for me, I don't feel it's wasted because I align more so with her than the other two.
Yes.
And I have to vote my conscience. I can't vote for one just to make sure the other one doesn't get in. I can't do it. I have to vote my conscience.
Gotcha.
That's where I'm at.
Coolness.
I don't know. Do you vote that way, or do you vote Democrat just because you don't like Trump?
I throw silver and blue glitter in the air, and then wherever, because blue is my favorite color, so wherever the blue lands at, that's what I vote for.
Wow.
And if you believe that and use that as a meme to attack me on the internet, you're just as stupid as that sounds.
Okay. Well, today's election day, so go out there, make sure you vote.
Yes, make sure you do vote though. I don't whatever your affiliation, it doesn't matter. Just please vote. Like you have to vote. Like you as an American have got to vote. This country is going through too much stuff for you to think that your vote really doesn't count.
Exactly. Okay. And on that note, we are out.
I'm just here chilling with my man K-Dog.